All right. Well, welcome everyone to the 160th and everything yet. What number are we at? We're at
100 and somethingeth.
160th. Woo! Live
Wow.
stream. Yeah, that's like 159 more than I thought we'd do.
You,
Yeah,
you
like
know,
it's a lot.
We've
you know,
kicked.
we gotta prepare for that like 200 thing. Like, what are we gonna do?
Oh
That's
god.
still
Draw
like 40
200
weeks away.
ponies and an Aggie.
On the 200th episode, we just explode.
What day?
No, we do it live. We do a live show, like literally in like in like a place where people do like concerts. We have an audience.
We can fundraise so that they send us to all be at the same place at the same time, and we all be sitting at
With
the
our
desk
plushies.
together.
So that'll be December 10th. So that's awfully close to Christmas.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh. Not accounting for any like delays for weeks or like holidays. No.
You're right. Then it's closer to December 24th.
Which is Christmas.
Heck, I'll do it.
Yeah, you'll just pack yourself into a box and ship yourself out.
Yeah.
With the bow on top.
All right, well, welcome everyone to this 160th live stream. Thank you all for bearing through our blather and whatever we call that.
Those are
Today,
words.
as always, we have the ever lovely Alley Claw.
Hello.
And then there's a Fluffinator 6000 known as Fluffy's Eye.
I'm a robot.
Yeah, a little bit.
So if I ever just do like a purple swirl on the canvas, it just looked exactly like the Cadbury logo.
That was me.
Yes.
And
Oh,
of course,
chocolate.
the ever zombie-licious Zom living
Yay!
Brains.
living
Brains.
dead.
Brains.
Brains.
All right. So we got Mere Crescent up first with their ever adorable derby. Ooh.
You have earned my respect and love with this best pony.
So do you have any questions for us offhand? Their Mere Crescent. Beyond, they're asking for suggestions to improve shading and any questions about proportions. And does the hair texture fit everything else?
Everything in this picture is so smooth. Like I love it. Like, your line art's a bit too consistent. Like that you could have some variation going on, but it's so like this is vector because it reminds me of how my pictures looked when I was doing vector. But like everything is so like gorgeously consistent and smooth, and the eyes just look so lovely. But they always do that, don't
I think your hair is out of place in this. The solidness of the lines on the hair versus the not single solid. There's two hard lines of shading going on the body. It's out of place. Like areas like under this chin and that should be a good hard separation of shadow. Same as, well, you do have tucked under the wing, but the little bit of wing hanging over here. The little bit of the hawk thing there. You do have there. So you do have some solid lines, but I would do a mix of what you have here. So take this and bring it back a little bit. Maybe even just use the highlight for this and a slight smudge brush and just smooth out some of those lines in there. And it'll help stop looking different. It'll bring it closer to what the rest of the shading looks like.
Yeah, I think my big thing was what Fluffy hit on earlier was that the lines could use with a bit of differentiating. A lot of things are either very thick or taper out to be thin, and you could definitely have moments where it's not so thick. Like this
Yeah.
wing here feels like it's super thick everywhere around, and usually lines can kind of label things, where a thick line could make something more solid and a thin line more fragile. So you could maybe think about, maybe it's thicker up top for the wing, and then when it comes down to the feathers, you thin out a bit. You kind of get that
Yeah.
nice soft lightness. Just different stuff like that. There's a really good guide on line weights, but I'm trying to think where it is.
There's a long way.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. Just 1 second, actually, before I do anything else. Just move this a little bit, actually. I don't know if this... I probably just made that worse. I notice with Derpy, like, oftentimes it's better to not have the eyes in too close. Like, either have them, like, in the same position, like she's focusing to look in the same place, or have them, like, drastically different. Because anytime I've done them, like, really close, but not quite exact, it just kind of looks like I drew the eyes wrong. So I always try to make sure to push that, exaggerate it, make it obvious. The thing I was just going to say in the line out was, like, this part here bothers me a little bit, just this little tick where it curves in on me, because you got a very, very thick line going into a very thin one. When you have, like, lines overlap and taper, I kind of make it a rule to try and make the lines meet in the same sort of level of thickness, and then they can, like, taper out. That way you don't feel like you've got, like, a really thick line suddenly disappearing behind a really thin one. Same here for this ear. My tablet has frozen. My whole program is frozen. What is happening?
Well, it's still winter out here, so freezing happens.
Oh, my... Yeah. Give me a sec, I just gotta replug my tablet back in. It stopped working. Whatever, this line here. Oh, God, now it kicks back in, and it... I clicked with my mouse, and then my tablet came back in, and it was like, oh, you're drawing a huge line all the way across this ear here. Yeah, so just like how you got it here, where, like, where the line meets, it's on a pretty consistent weight. That's good. Just, like, don't let it come in too thin, you know? I'll do, like, an example. Like, ooh, ooh. Ooh. Versus, like... Ooh. That's weird. Yeah, the first thing I noticed on this image, just to I think is, like, the last thing I have to say, was, like, the eye here was, like, a little bit too thick. I would have just thinned it out a little bit. It's sort of clipping into the edge of the eye a little bit. Even I haven't... Oh, am I on the wrong layer? Nope. Even I didn't do it very good with my corrections or anything, but... Oh, come on. My tablet died again. What's going on? I also just tend to like... I rounded out the eye a little bit, right? Because it seems to me sort of the eye that you're doing is sort of defining the shape of the head a little bit. Like, oh, here's the side of the head, and that's I can see what you're doing, and that works. But, like, I kind of like the eyes to be their own thing. So I do the side of the head, and have the little cheek come out. But if you don't want to do that, and you like, because this is very much sort of like traditional show style, rather than, like, movie style or anything, then, you know, you don't have to do this way. That's absolutely fine. I was just experimenting to see what she'd look like with a little bit of a pretty cheek. Oh, and of course she's got a fluffy pony. Fluffy fluff. There. I'm not in the Picato yet, by the way, so... Oh, CBC beat me to it. I can't see any, like, responses to anything I'm saying.
That's a really cute derpy.
She's so cute. Little fluffy bum. Ah! We keep going to fluff the same things.
All right. You got any more questions on this one, Mir?
Everyone wants fluffy fur, but no one talks about fluffy eyeballs.
CBC fluffs everything.
Oh, no.
See? This is what she does.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Well, this monstrosity is having...
Talk about your eyelash extensions.
So the next one is by Ferda Bat, and it's old sketch from Sunburst. Kind of got a little bit messy.
Messy sketches are good. We like that here.
Nice.
All right, so go at it. And welcome, Tadpole.
Hi. I made it.
Yeah.
My thoughts specifically are with the anatomy of the shoulders. So
Yeah, I
you've
can see
got
that.
kind of this perspective sort of thing. So you want to make sure that the shoulders not only line up with that, but are kind of equidistant from the neck. In fact, actually, I would, stretch it out even further. Right around there, yeah.
Oh my god, CP.
And then you've got, the center line kind of coming out. This is, it's a lot of 3D visualization. Kind of hard to explain. It's something that comes with a lot of, just drawing a lot of people. Life drawing. Hooray!
This is what's good about doing messy sketches. It's really easy to just like feel everything out, and just make everything very like reflexive and just feeling and muscle memory. Everything sort of flows naturally, so you can easily be like, I'm just going to mess with this body shape and just build it out as I go, and like just extend this a bit and extend it a bit more and extend it a bit more until you feel like it's comfortable.
Definitely, and also while you're like, even when you're playing around and sketching, you can just whip out a reference and check yourself and just be like,
Yeah.
this is looking weird, I don't know why, instead of just sitting there and trying to figure it out. Usually there's a reference, guarantee you, something out there that'll have the answer for you.
Like any
Yeah.
Calvin Klein model.
There's
right
lots of
there.
anatomy references.
Yeah, that horn is very thick compared to his head.
Yeah, and it's got like a sort of backwards, because it's like curving this way. No, if you're gonna curve it, usually they curve backwards. But you can make it straight. Let's just go and log on. Let's just
Rule the heavens.
there we go.
Oh, one more thing. I think it comes with the messiness of the sketch, but a little bit more definition with this glasses, I think, would be nice. And the
Yeah, I
nose
agree.
right here. So we kind of know what's going on there.
This expression, by the way, like all I can think of, like while we're like critiquing this image I'm seeing, this is just like a very like anime dramatized like expression for the sake of dramatic effect, and it's just like someone offered him like a food he doesn't like, and it's just like, oh, I hate olives or something like that. And he's just like, oh. Maybe that's just his reaction. What?
Oh my gosh.
It's actiony. It's got to have a pun quote.
Next.
Just picturing a universe, Sunburst grows up, gets buff, and then like turns into a Chad.
Oh my god. Alright, the next one is by Hyperdash. It is Glimmy from this morning, experimenting with sketchy lines since clean line work kills me to do so.
He's cute.
I don't think sketchy line work is bad so long as it's confidently sketchy.
Yeah. If you are sure of what you're doing and it's very deliberate.
NC Mares. Boop.
Oh yeah.
Your sketch should have all the information that your line work will have, so it shouldn't be a guessing game, and you can take that time to refine your sketches so that you can work towards a more confident line art, because it's all there in front of you. You're tracing over your sketch. So if you find yourself with line art that feels unconfident, shaky, that just feels like another sketch, then you can just take that time to just keep refining your sketch. And you can refine a sketch 20 bajillion times. Sometimes I'll have like a sketch layer, and then I'll have like a gesture drawing, and then I refine that with a sketch layer, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
another layer
yeah.
where I refine that, and maybe I'll go in a third layer to add something, and then a fourth layer to
I
like
have done this before,
finish.
definitely.
Yeah,
It's very good.
there's no such
It
thing.
can be really. I will say, like, for most sketches, I'll just sketch things out. I'm comfortable enough with my own style to do that. But with something that's like when you're really trying to like figure out something that you're not familiar with, it really helps. Especially something especially when you've got like an idea in your head that isn't like strongly defined into a clear image. Like, for example, a character design that you've never actually designed before. It's just an idea for a character in your head. And it's like, I'm gonna draw this character. You have a general idea of like, the shape of the hair or mane or whatever, and like sort of what sort of feel it'll have, but you don't actually know exactly how they're gonna end up. So it's like really good to do that sort of messy sketch, like lots of gestures, like Ali said, lots of just really feeling it out and just throwing shapes on there, and then slowly refining that, because it really helps to build up like the general shape first and try and
Well,
capture what it is you have in your head.
Oh, sorry, you cut out. I thought you were. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I
Malfunction
cut
on
out.
my end. It's all right. No, I was just saying, like, even for traditional, because I know some people be like, I can't sketch over my thing 20 times. It's like, with practice, you can. It's about using
Yeah.
light touch. You don't need to really press down hard.
Yeah,
Like,
and
people...
the beginning couple of sketches don't have to be like super long, effort like deliberate sketches. They're meant to be just very very quick, rough, and then you like take more time as you go. So.
And never be intimidated, because I know some people have expectations of like, oh, but traditional has to come out clean because this one artist, they did this super quick 5-minute
Yeah,
sketch and it looks
yeah.
awesome. It's like, well, it's that's where the experience bar happens. It's fine to be messy with your sketches, traditional, digital, whatever, and it's fine to refine those sketches. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to come out right the first time.
And yeah, and doing like some masterful, super clean sketch in like 5 minutes is not the only way to like do art and make really good traditional art or digital or otherwise. That you can easily do like messy stuff. There's seen plenty of sketches that I just adore, and they're just like they're just doodles on a piece of like lined paper somewhere. It's like it's not some beautiful, gorgeous like Copic marker or whatever. It's just like a sketch, and it's nice. It's lovely. It's gonna do. Why are you doodling? I have this thing for giving ponies like cute little pudgy horns. I don't know why. I just love doing this. It's cute.
I have a personal opinion. I don't know. I get kind of bothered a little bit when people do this style of drawing the eye underneath the hair. I know it's a style, and I know that people do it on purpose. That's my personal opinion. If you're wanting to not do it, then I would recommend just framing your angles and everything in such a way that the hair doesn't go over the eyes. Or have it go over the eyes. I don't know.
No, I hear ya. I feel like sometimes... I think that style works, in my own opinion, of course, when it's super clean. Like, it's very much derivative of manga that they do it for that.
Just like CBC said, it's because it's good for expressions.
Yeah, you can really get across that eye. But at the same time, you can also add depth to your character by having that hair overlap the eye.
Yeah. It can definitely. It can work both ways. Like you can sometimes it can definitely work to your benefit to have the hair, especially if you're going for like a more of a realistic thing, like Ali said, with depth, and you really want to draw out like the feeling and weight of everything and make it feel like you're really like looking at a real thing. It can work much better to have the hair on top and just drown the eye out. But it's otherwise it can work well to have the eye on top if what you're focusing on is the expression. And there are so many different ways of doing this. It's not like point A or point B. There are different like levels of how like some people have the entire eye on top of their hair. Some people have the eye slightly faded. Some people have just the line art. What I do is I have the line art for the eye itself, not for the iris. So the iris is like under the hair, but I have the line art for the eye on top, and then I color that so it's sort of a faded color of the hair to sort of show that it's like sort of partially showing through the hair, because the hair is like thin, especially on the fringe. And sometimes I'll even go a step further with something that has a bit more image that has a bit more detail in it, and I'll do this thing which I got from an image. I got this idea from some like anime thing I saw once, where I'll actually like I'll just use this as an example. I'll take like the hair and like I'll just have it sort of like cut out a little bit like this, so it's like, oh, like there's like
Oh.
strands.
Yeah, because I mean the whole point of showing the eye is just the
It
fact
doesn't
that
work as well here, but yeah.
in real life, you look at someone with hair in front of their face and you can still pick out some detail of what's behind there. It's not like a brick wall
Yeah,
that suddenly falls down. So it's kind of like you pick and choose on how to
yeah.
figure it out.
So obviously the entire eye just like fully visible is surreal. It's not like a realistic thing, but like it's intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my tablet keeps dying like every 2 seconds. It's really weird.
So the bottom line here is there's a lot of ways to do it. There's always
Woo.
preferences. We have ours, you have yours, and that's just how art is.
And with that, on to the next one.
Woo!
Alright. Actually, the last one. So remember, if anyone else has any art they'd like to submit, any questions they'd like to ask, feel free to do it. Otherwise, we run away screaming. So this last one is by Lemon65. Did some scribbling and ended up with Mod Pie. It's not perfect, but my hand is not robotic. Still hope you like it. I like to imagine that they were just like drawing circles, and after they looked back, it was poof, Mod Pie.
She just appeared. She drew a rock and then turns around, comes back, and it's more fun. I feel like we're looking at the paper from an angle here, judging by like the dots. I don't know if that's actually true. Gosh, this silly table. I will have a look in a sec.
So, I'd say I think your Mod Pie is really cute, but I have something to say. It's funny you make the your hand's not a robot comment.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ali had something to say on that.
So, you may say that, but it seems like you're trying very hard to get nice clean lines. Like you're pushing down really hard. I can see from the picture, not probably the best picture, but that you almost like your pencil dug into your paper to make like a little divot. So
Yeah.
feel free to be loose. Don't be a robot. Don't be perfect. Don't be super duper clean line, one stroke done and perfect,
Yeah. The thing is, like, don't think that like the accuracy with art is a case of like having your hand just like make the perfect motions, like some like streamlined laser guided thing. Like the accuracy of the art is actually more about being messy and loose, like we talked about with some of the previous pictures in this episode.
And like we were saying earlier, like you can see someone maybe they can like sit there and in 5 minutes do this really confident looking sketch that's clean and neat, and it looks like they only did one line for everything. It's perfect. That comes with time, practice, and building your confidence.
Okay.
It's definitely a goal, but let yourself get there. You don't have to have these perfect clean lines right away. You can do like light sketches and then go back and make them a little more confident.
Yeah. I just mirrored and like I'm just gonna correct some of the face from the mirrored position. It's a bit harder to do on paper, but you can actually it's not quite perfect, but you can just like hold up a reflective surface or take a photo and flip it around. It's not ideal, but it's one of the limitations of traditional. But mirroring your art very much helps to see where some flaws might be, and sometimes like, oh, this face is like drawn leaning this way and it's not what I wanted, so it's like, oh, now I can fix that.
Absolutely. And this is for digital, but I have a hotkey specifically for mirroring my art.
Yeah, I think CSP has that built in.
It's so useful.
DrawPart has it built in as well. I just wished it's V, C, and V. C is like to go upside down. V is to flip it like horizontally.
The thing I was gonna say about sketching and confidence and clean line art and everything is take a look at some sketches from like the old masters, like any kind of great artist, classical artist from any time past. Literally any, you could pick anyone. Take a look at some of their sketches, and they're not super clean, but you can tell that I think once again it's the confidence that gives it away. That gives it the professional quality.
It's being deliberate and
each-
knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, each stroke is they know that it's supposed to be there, and
Yeah.
it's
And
it's
even
not clean,
then,
but it's
I'm
confident.
sure a lot of the old sort of like masterpiece classic art pieces were just like they weren't. I think a lot of them maybe weren't sure what they were doing. It's like, oh, especially for like the more sort of like impressionism and just like more surreal things. Just like, oh, I'm just gonna try this weird idea that's in my head. I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but who cares? And then they just like paint something or draw something or sculpt something, and then like people like it because it's interesting and new and creative. So it can go both
Hooray!
ways.
I will say that your feet, your hooves, are very nice and solid and three-dimensionally placed, and they look correct, very correct, and that's great.
Yeah. What I'm correcting
That's
now isn't.
usually a problem that a lot of people have
Yeah.
is hoof placement.
What I'm doing now, by the way, isn't. Oh, this is something you've done wrong. I was just like messing with the head, and then that was like, oh, now I need to like change where this is positioned, and now like the body's in the wrong place, so I need to just like fix how. I'm fixing how things have changed now that I've drawn on stuff. What was that?
Sorry.
So I mean, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you change something. So okay, now I need to adjust everything else in like a cascade, but that's okay. It's still right.
And
Yeah.
if you
So
ever have
I
that,
gave her a little bit of a update.
I know I've gotten into that where it's like, oh, I corrected one thing and now everything else needs to move slightly over. But say you're on traditional, it's like, oh, I don't want
Yeah. When it's traditional, it's like, oh.
the best
Well,
thing for
what I
that.
was doing is pretty simple because it's just I'm just
Oh yeah.
redrawing everything, so that's easy. If when I was saying to someone earlier on today, actually, like one of the nice things, actually when I was getting my haircut, I was talking to the hairdresser. I was saying like one of the nice things that like, 'cause we were talking about art, and I was saying with digital art, it's, with traditional, it's like, oh, I've drawn this head too big. I need to redraw the entire head. Damn it! And with digital, it's just, oh, I'll just shrink it. There we go.
Yeah, pretty much. And
That happens to me so much. I never draw heads the right size the first time ever.
Yeah,
They're always
me
too
neither.
small, too big. Usually too big.
Mine
Yeah,
usually
it's
are
crazy.
too small.
They just never want to. They just never want to be nice. The heads just don't want to listen.
Yep, do I'm reading Mod Pie
And then you
backwards because
have
I'm
the
mirrored still.
converse problem of you're like, oh well, then I'll just start with the head and then build, and that's a bad
Yeah, and then the
idea.
body is the wrong size. Yeah.
No.
Because like I do all the undersketching,
Don't
like
build off
circles,
of a
lines,
head.
and skeletons and everything. But like the problem is when I draw my faces, they don't match. Like usually when I draw pony faces, they actually fall. Oops, didn't mean to hit save. It's impulsive from doing art. Control S. My heads usually actually don't fit completely inside the circle. Like, okay, I have a circle, neat. And then when I go to draw, they don't usually. So, oh, here's the face, woo, and bridge of nose here, and then there's the eye, and then so then they end up like this. So they're smaller than the actual circle, but just because the circle's like a general placement, But then it's like if I base the proportions around that, I'm gonna have some head problems. What's this angry face? What is happening? Why
I
is
don't
one
know.
eyebrow
I really
super
don't know.
long and pointed, the other eyebrow is square?
I see like a fed up Spyro in that face. Just so done.
All right. So, does anyone else have any other pictures they'd like to submit? Any other questions they'd like to ask?
Pictures and questions.
Quack 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 quack. You finally did something. Are you looking for a critique on it, or are you just very proud you did one? Because I'm proud of you.
We're all
proud of you. Who are you?
Mazes Bay.
Good old Maze, the loyal and true.
Did you do it for your own weekly theme? Change
Ooh, that's a
lens.
sparkly
No.
eye. Sparkly.
Wait,
Whoa, whoa.
I
What?
see forever.
was last
There's
change?
something intense going down on the bottom of your.
That happens. CPC is let
The
loose.
battle. Where's
no.
this battle coming from?
I need to go see.
Wait, the book fort I'm pushing for are at a truce. The war has stopped.
Mm.
Oh my god.
It's just like a
Is
silly
this
pony battle.
Rary
Solar
Tatoes
Empire,
versus
New Lunar
Fluffy.
Republic?
It's a sillies versus rotators. That's amazing.
So, is this the announcement of your separate Rary Tato blog, and then you're gonna have them fight?
I really like this one. Oh, my pen is small. This one is cute.
I think the obvious reason you can't manage to do more than one blog at a time is because you aren't doing more than one blog at a time. So the answer
It's
is do 6.
yeah. It's funny though. Like this, I would love to see this as an actual like animation because like both it's like a war between two sides that are just like completely like silly and inept and like not gonna like be fighting properly at all. Like the silly ponies would just be there like squawking and being silly, and the rotators would just be up to like adorable shenanigans, like they're trying, but like they're just like kids like doing silly things.
Darling,
Like, it
darling,
never quite-
darling.
Never
Alright,
quite do it.
CPC.
Like, okay, we're forming a plan. We're gonna do this, and then they just end up like getting like sidetracked on little adventures. And
See,
the
I'll
silly
make-
ponies are just there squawking.
I'll make a Rary Tato blog if people donate to let me buy more Rary Tatos. And then the blog will end
Kickstarter.
when I own 200 Rary Tatos. That's the goal.
GoFundMe.
Coffee for
Delicious
Rary
number
Tatos.
Yeah.
Because you can change instead of like it being a coffee, you can change what it is and what the amount is. So I can just a Rary Tato donation.
This is the greatest idea ever. All right, Maze.
Sorry, Maze.
Ooh,
So
uh-oh.
eyelashes. They are very petite.
Let me tell you so.
I have a
Ooh, this is an excellent opportunity to talk about thicks and thins. I
Do
love
it.
talking about thicks and
Do
thins.
it.
Essentially, this is a guide for making things just more pleasing to look at. And that is varying the length or the thickness or of anything that there is multiples of, like these eyelashes. So have some long, have some short, have some.
I actually didn't realize these were eyelashes. I thought it was sort of like a shade.
You know,
That's a lot of eyelashes.
but that applies to not just multiples of things, but it applies to pretty much anything adding interest to
Yeah.
drawings, even proportions for if you're doing character design or
Mm.
anything like that. You know
I do definitely agree with like the variation aspect of it. Like that here's a secret fluffy tip from us fluffers over here. You know, it's how we sort of make things look nice and
Darn
varied and
fluffers.
uneven.
Yeah, it's not all one perfect
Yeah,
shakily drawn fluff.
even with hair too. If I want to get some spiky hair or something. And yes, with eyelashes. In fact, yeah, with my eyelashes, I've always like really struggled to like when you have like the really cute cartoony little eyelashes. I always thought it looked adorable, but I just couldn't do it for the longest time. Now I always do it. I would hate it if the eyelash didn't like perfectly tangent off of the line like this. And so my eyelashes, I would also like do lots of what we were just talking about with like the thicks and thins and like little ones in between. So I'd do lashes that look like this a lot of the time, and I'd just make sure that they like blended back into the eye. There we go. And balance them out a bit. Yay, there we go. These were my eyelashes for ages. I don't really do them like that much anymore, but I probably should. I sort of save it for like the really like elegant eyelashes, like rarities and stuff. Fluttershy sometimes.
thing is that is a very, very dilated pupil.
Yeah. She sees the universe.
I mean, I guess if you're seeing the universe, then that is probably what's going to happen.
Trying to get the curve. That is most of art. I have to say, just like, I can do this.
One of art's greatest hits.
Yeah.
Make a soundtrack.
Doing the same line over and over again.
Ah.
But I will say that sometimes you just like get I do. This is worth saying because so many people are like, oh, I can't do the lines. I have to do this because how am I supposed to get it right? It's like you do it over and over and over again until it's right. You just undo, retry, undo, retry, and each time you get like a little bit. There we go, a little bit more accurate until you get it where you want to be. And then sometimes, can I redo that? No, it's gone. Okay. Sometimes it's a matter of like, okay, I've got. Wait for it.
There we go.
See, this is what it is. Okay, I've got that, but now I want to like correct it a little bit, so I'll just erase a little bit, then continue. But there's something else I was going to say on that regard, and now I forgot. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say it's really satisfying when like you have like a line that you gotta do, like especially if it's like a particular curve, you just do it straight up. It's like, oh, and it like matches up with the sketch perfectly, and it's like that was the best.
This is a stylistic thing that a lot of people do, just to indicate eyelashes, but darkening the top of the eye.
Mm-hmm. That is a very common thing I see, yeah. Both in cartoon and anime. So like regardless of what sort of theme or style you go for, it's something I see a lot. Well, you could even sort of do it in a more refined sort of way where, let's see, where can I draw? I'm looking at the stream to sort of see the area that I'm going to fall outside of. So I'll do like the thicker, you can sort of do lots of like branching off, make the thickness part of the eyelashes, you know, rather than it being like this isn't going well, but yeah. And then on this side too, you just have it branch out here a little bit. I'm working very small. This isn't very good. Normally I should zoom in for this. There we go. I typically mostly do that with close-ups of eyes though, when it's really like this one, where it's really appropriate to do a higher level of detail.
I don't know. Well,
Hope this gives you some ideas. So I mean, I do see this a lot with like the big close-in detail shots like this, and then people do sort of like the same like single line weight, consistent like thin lines, and it's like if you can be, this is an opportunity, this is a perfectly appropriate place to use thicker lines, is because you're zoomed in. We talk about like the places where you can use thicker lines. We were talking about this in the critique channel on our Discord the other day, I think, but where you have one thing could be thicker lines for big sort of shape defining parts of the image, and then thinner lines for smaller details and things. One thing, I think it was CPC that said it, is distance. So like things further back are thinner lines, and things further forward are thicker. And also, I think she said that darks, where there's lots of shadow will fall, can have thicker lines, and light areas can have thinner lines. These are all different uses for it. But also, zooming in on a high detail shot like this. But I was doing this, I did like a comic recently, and there were like just sort of varying distances between the shots, and I would try to make sure I was doing the lines sort of consistently. Like I went really thin and like a zoomed out shot, and then like super thick when I went in. Not to a level where it's like, oh god, why are these lines suddenly so like massive now? But like, so there's a bit of a ratio to it, but you can still look at it and say, "Oh, I'm looking at something close up now because the lines are thicker, and my brain is telling me that I'm zooming in."
Varying line weight is the spice of life.
There are lots of different ways to apply it.
True that.
Any other questions?
I love the little CPC mouse appearing.
Comments? Concerns?
think
Give
it's a
us your
jerboa.
questions so we can build a clubhouse.
Why is CPC? It's a kangaroo CPC, not a kangaroo mouse.
It
That's
looks
adorable.
like a jerboa to me. It's a type. Do you know what jerboas are? Because they're cute and tiny and basically kangaroos.
I didn't know CPC did a OC update.
All right. Well, if that's it, then thank you all for coming, and see you again next week.
Well, bye, everyone.
See you later.